Welcome to the Business Reignitor series, episode 8. I get asked quite a lot from business owners for ideas of how to grow their business. So in this series, I look at the different types of business that we're interested in partnering with to talk through what I do with each business to help it grow and dominate its local market. During my career, I've grown multiple businesses into multi-million pounds, 7 and 8 figure revenue businesses across multiple industries, and this is the same process I use with those. So during the series, I'll pick a random company off the internet and I'll do a deep dive into what I'd do with that company if I owned it or if I was running it myself. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about an electrical contracting business. So let's get into it. So in this video, we're looking at a company called Scott Electrical based in Leeds in the UK. Now, I don't know this company. I don't know anyone in it. I've never come into contact with this business before until now, and they aren't paying me to promote their business. So I'm basing all my growth suggestions on assumptions, all based on what I can see on their website. Now, obviously, if I was actually inside the business, I'd probably choose a few different strategies or a few additional strategies than what I'll talk about in this video. Now, none of what I talk about is meant to be derogatory in any way, and it's not intention to cause any kind of damage to the business. If you're a client of this business, please don't let my suggestions determine whether you decide to work with them or not. And if it's relevant, please do your own due diligence on the business. And likewise, nothing in this video is any kind of endorsement to the business either. So if you're interested in working with this company, the web address is on the screen. You can reach them through that, and I'm sure that they'll appreciate that extra web traffic as well. So one thing I've noticed from coming into contact with hundreds of businesses over the years is that most share the same issues and reasons why they just seem a bit stagnant in the growth. Now, I'm not saying this business shares those issues or that they're stagnant in the growth. I've not seen their accounts, so I don't know whether that's true or not. But what I've found, when a business is stagnant or is struggling to grow, it's because they just need what I call a bit of a reignition. Most of the time, it's not even a lot that needs doing with the business. It's normally just small tweaks or changes that then it just takes off. But with every business, we have to start with where the business is right now. I'm not talking about their physical location, although that does sometimes come into it. I'm talking about every part of the business. Without doing this step, it's like having a map and saying you want to go to, let's say, Disneyland, Florida, but not knowing where you're at right now on that map. How can you sat nav give you the directions of how to get there if it doesn't know where you're starting from? Now, there's lots to go into with understanding where the business is, which for this business, we don't have access to lots of information. So we would really need that to go through this process properly. So we'll focus on what we do know about them based on the information that's on the website. So what do they do? Who do they do it for? How big is the business? What assets does it have? How many staff? Does it employ a management team, or is it relying on the owners? But everything starts with the customer. And you'll see what I mean by this as we move through this. So this business doesn't specify who they work for. I assume it's whoever comes to the door or calls their office. So this is why it's even more important to go through that foundational stage that we just talked about, where you can analyze the customer base, because that will tell you which sectors the business works for, which are the most profitable sectors, which are the most in-demand sectors, and most important, which sectors are the largest growth markets for the business in the future. Imagine how important it is to know that if you're focused on a sector that in 5 years from now will be dead, let's say a sector like high street retail, even if the business isn't a high street retail business, if its customers come from that sector, then it will also die alongside that sector, unless it takes emergency action before it's too late. So for this company, the first strategy to focus on would be to do that and get clear on exactly who they're focused on serving. And when they do that, they'll free up resource and their own time, which they can invest those resources into the most profitable and growing group of customers instead. And what you normally find is 80% of your profits come from about 20% of your clients. So getting clear on this, they can drop certain clients or types of client or groups of clients, which are probably taking a lot of cash flow to manage the business. And the business will see a massive improvement almost overnight by doing that. I've done this so many times across every business I've been involved with. And when they know who the business is working for, the type of client and the sector, we need to understand what that client is buying during that journey to solving their problem. It's not just about what the client buys from them, it's about everything that they buy from every other company in that journey. So we can see this business has listed a number of projects. They seem to be mainly residential with a few commercial projects as well. So we want to imagine how can we maximize what this group of clients spends with the business. So with this business, the products and services it provides are electrical inspections, electrical installation, fire alarm, emergency lighting installations, data networks, electrical maintenance, electrical vehicle charging points, thermal imaging services, and pack testing. Now, if I were growing this business, I'd add a number of offerings to the business. I'd look at enhancing what they already do and establish these as standalone businesses with their own dedicated teams. So that would be a commercial fire and security business, a data and telecoms business, a specialist lighting offering, which would include specialist emergency lighting. I'd create a solar PV offering to complement the existing electrical vehicle charging units. And I create a dedicated facilities management offering to further develop that maintenance side of the business as well. As part of doing all this, I'd make sure the business had all the specialist accreditations and training in place to really specialize in these different areas. I'd want the business to be viewed as the only place to go for these type of services. So it really has to be the best of the best, the place where other contractors come for advice, or if they have a problem, and if they don't provide the service themselves, then they actually refer their clients to this business for that particular service. I wouldn't do these all at the same time. I'd bring each one in over time, probably taking between 3 to 9 months on each one, launching it, testing it, and then optimizing it with the end goal of operating it almost like a standalone business with its own group of staff. And obviously that doesn't happen overnight, it takes time. But I'd start with what I'd call test bed customers. And these are customers that are happy to be guinea pigs for the new offerings, and maybe they get the offering at a big discount, but what you use these customers for is to refine the product offering and iron out any delivery issues before you then scale it out to the rest of your customers. And after I know the process is working, I then dedicate someone to sell these new offerings to the company's existing customers. One thing I see over and over again, though, when a business creates a new product or service offering, they create something that their existing customers don't have a need for, or they aren't already buying it. And this means that they have to go out and find a new set of customers to sell that new product to. I think it's caused because perhaps they look at what their competitors are doing. Maybe the competitor provides a service that their business doesn't. And so they automatically just create that product offering, but they don't have anyone to then sell it to. So they have to start targeting new customers, which costs money, it eats up your cash flow, it reduces your profit margins, and it ends up taking much longer before you reach that same end result. It's much more profitable and faster to see results if you focus on selling more to your existing customers. The next thing I'd do with this business is I'd acquire or merge with a mechanical services contractor. This would mean I could access their customers, but also I could sell mechanical services to my customers too. And next, I'd look at buying both franchise, such as Mr. Electric franchise, to give the business access to new groups of clients. I'd also buy licenses with product businesses, so the business is exclusive for that particular product within, let's say, the Yorkshire market. So no other contractor can provide that particular thing. And finally, I'd expand the business across the Yorkshire region with the intention of dominating that market. I'd also look at adding partnerships to the business. First, I'd look for partnerships with design consultants so that they could make referrals for new projects. And next, I'd create client partnerships so it would provide the business with sufficient guarantee of workload in certain geographical areas, as well as giving us that known client brand and credibility that it could then attract other clients in that location. And third, I'd create supply chain partnerships so that the business could deliver services in any location. Also, doing each of these activities or strategies will need a level of investment to bring it to life. Now, that might just be a time investment, but others might need significant financial investment. And from that investment, you'd expect to see a return on each activity. So we want to prioritize each of these strategies or activities according to a few criteria. How much investment is needed? What are the expected returns? How fast will we see those returns? And how much cash flow or further investment will each of those activities need in the future, or to operate it within the business? And the next question is, how much should the business invest into these different growth projects? And obviously, we don't know the numbers inside this particular business, so it really depends on those numbers and what their growth projections are. But as a rule of thumb, I'd look to invest around 15 to 20% of the projected revenue for next year. So let's say the business has 2 million revenue now, and wants to reach 2.5 million revenue next year. Then the investment budget of between 375 to 500,000 is about right to do that. And remember, that isn't a cost of the business. That is an investment into a new service offering or a new product offering, which is then going to generate extra revenue every single year after that. So we created a number of strategies to focus on growing this business. Now, the problem that I see with most businesses that try to do these strategies is they'll go off and they'll start trying to do it all themselves. The problem with doing that is it becomes a distraction to your existing core business. In the various businesses I've been involved with myself doing this, it was me and maybe a small group of people that focused on doing this growth plan, while the rest of the business continues to be run by people that were dedicated to that part. You have to really think about these growth projects or growth activities like you're creating a special task force. And that special task force is going to go out there and create that new thing, whatever that thing is. So to give you an example, if you think about Apple, now Apple have shops and they have people looking after manufacturing of those different products, but they also have a completely separate group of people that focus solely on designing and creating those new products. That team of people don't do anything else. They don't get involved in fixing people's phones. They don't build iPads. They don't build laptops. They don't work in the shop selling things. They work on designing and creating new products. Some of those products won't even be available to buy for the next 5 years. So that's how every business should think about it. Apple might be a big business now, but it was the same when they first got started. They always had one group of people that would be building the computers, but then they'd have a small group of people that was creating the next product. And this is what we do. We're like that special task force in a business. The final question is, how does this business go about doing these strategies? Now, we use a lot of different frameworks and tools that we've created over the last 30 years of doing this in our own businesses. And a lot of these frameworks and tools are available through our website or through courses, books, and videos that we've created. But the intention of doing these videos is to attract suitable partners to us, where if you're aligned with what we're doing and where we want to go ourselves, then we'll work with you and we'll do this process with you as a joint venture. So if that sounds interesting, the place to go is our website first, and I'll leave a link in the description and you can reach us there. If you haven't seen my latest books, I'd highly recommend you read these, The Momentum Framework and my most recent book, Sustainable Community, where I go much deeper into using these strategies. And I'll leave a link to those in the description as well. And that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you got some value from the video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.